Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Destination Fantasy Podcast. I'm here with my brother from another mother, Deshaun. How you doing this morning?
I'm alive and well, bro. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good. We are here with my brother-in-law, my bro. I've been knowing this guy. I don't know about what 7 years now in the
Yeah, somewhere
making.
around there.
Man, so introduce my brother Micah. How you doing, man?
Am I right? How are you guys doing?
I'm doing
Good.
pretty good, bro. Pretty good.
And just really quick. So a lot of people don't know this. So Michael was like maybe no, he was our first supporter to Destination Fantasy. He is a part of the team undercover. People don't know that, but yeah, he's been there since the beginning. He's had our support since day one. Hey, honestly, we probably wouldn't even be here without him. So just so you know, you are that valuable to us, and we appreciate you, bro.
Straight up.
Appreciate the love. Appreciate it. I remember. I think that was the first video on the YouTube page.
Yep, we sure are.
Yeah, so call me
So
Mr. Grand Opening.
loving it, man. So yeah, so I know all three of us been, we've been playing fantasy for a while, different leagues and stuff. I do know one thing, you Tom Brady fan for sure. You the New England guy until he left, but
Yeah.
just your thoughts on Tom Brady, leaving, going to Tampa, winning the Super Bowl in his first year, got 7 rings. I know Tom Brady's usually your guy when we draft for fantasy every year. So just your thoughts on Tom Brady and his greatness.
Well, one thing they always say: never bet against Tom Brady. So I take that with me into my fantasy league team. So if Tom Brady's available with my first round pick, I always make sure I get Tom Brady. You know, as far as winning Super Bowl, um, you know, that was the big question going into the season. Can Tom Brady win without Bill Belichick? Who was really the driving force behind those championships? Was it Bill Belichick's coaching or was it Tom Brady's greatness? And so far, it's looking like it was Tom Brady's greatness. He left. He left Patriots, went to Tampa Bay. Won the Super Bowl. So we'll see what Bill Belichick can do when he gets a healthy team, when he has the opportunity to draft his players and really build his team up. Because when Tom Brady left the Patriots, they didn't really have too much. He didn't really have any options. The wide receiving core was horrible. So like I said, Tom Brady's great. His greatness is just showing through 7 rings. Won it with the Patriots, won it with the Bucks. Yeah,
Hey, I mean, you're right as far as Tom Brady leaving basically the quote unquote cover drive for New England at the time. They had nothing. Cam came in and basically had to throw the players that you picked up at the YMCA down the street. That's what it looked like. And then
yeah,
Cam gets COVID, and then he didn't look the same when he came back. The defense, basically all the defensive players opted out.
yeah.
You over here running with the Pee Wee team down the street on defense. It just didn't feel right, and yet they finished 7-9. Somehow squeaked out 7 wins, and so now with Belichick coming back this year, you got Cam. They actually spent a lot of money to get him weapons, get him defense. Defense comes back 1 year in the system. So I mean, I think Belichick is trying to re up here and trying to catch Brady, but Brady definitely got off to a really good start.
Yeah, he struck first. He struck first in this whole debate and the competition that they're going on between each other. So he was able to do it, but we can't forget that he did learn from Bill Belichick. So he did absorb the knowledge he learned from him. I'm pretty sure Bill Belichick showed him all the secrets, showed him all the techniques he used, showed him all the formula he used for when he's preparing for each team each week. So I'm pretty sure he took that with him on to the next team. So we'll see. We'll see if Bill Belichick can recreate that with another protege. See if he'll be able to do that and win some more champions with another guy. But let's not act like Cam Newton is in a former league MVP. So they were able to squeak out a 7-9 season, but they did have an MVP quarterback after him. So yeah.
Fair enough. And then last question before we move on with Tom Brady. So a couple weeks ago, we did our quarterback rankings, and we have Tom Brady right now going into the season at number 10. How do you feel about that?
It's hard for me to, I guess, process how, former Super Bowl MVP is number 10 on quarterback rankings.
Hey, it's strictly fantasy, man.
Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't have anything to do with his. We seen the flex, the 7 rings. I seen that up on Instagram, which was actually kind of dope. Super Bowl rings is dope, but this here is a whole different ball game. We got some young guns out there like Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray, Josh Allen, who just bring more fantasy value to a football team. Now I get it, Brady may be the GOAT in reality football, but right now, yeah. We're going to have to roll with the young guys.
Roll with them for the fantasy. I get it. I get it. But yeah, I mean, he, it's a lot more quarterbacks. He's probably going to put up better numbers than him. So I understand it, though.
All right, fair enough. And so we're going to talk about a guy that me personally, I had high in my rankings, and I was going to, take him in a lot of leagues, and then all of a sudden, you hear reports of him tearing his Achilles while working out before training camp. The guy named is Cam Akers. The Rams have Super Bowl aspirations here. They traded for Matthew Stafford. Still got, Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey on the side of the ball. Cam Akers is supposed to be the lead guy with Robert Woods and Cooper Kupp on the outside. It was definitely going to do some things, but just really quick, your thoughts on Cam Akers and I guess, how this will affect the team going forward.
Well, this is what, his sophomore season, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's unfortunate he got hurt. It's unfortunate, anytime anyone gets hurt, but, injuries are all part of the game. I think their backup is Henderson Jr.
Yep.
When I was looking at his numbers last year, it looked like he had some, his numbers is right there on par with Cam Akers' numbers. So
yeah, he's no scrub.
Yeah. So, I guess, kind of next man up mentality. Let's see what Henderson Jr. can do. Matthew Stafford, we'll see what he do now that he's out of Detroit. Detroit seems to be a black hole for players. We even think about Barry Sanders retiring, and then then next you got Calvin Johnson. We got two extremely good players, 2 talented players, 2 once in generational players. All retiring just because they couldn't leave Detroit. So I'm excited to see what Stafford could do now that he's finally out of Detroit. I'm pretty sure moving from Detroit to LA, that got to be like a super big morale boost. You out of that, you go Detroit to LA. That's night and day. So he should be a lot more happy. When he walk outside, see the palm trees, warm weather, beaches. Maybe he should be a little more happy. Maybe he'll play a little better.
Really quick, the first thing I thought of was the opposite. And the first person I thought of was Blake Griffin when he went from LA to Detroit. He ain't want to dunk anymore. So, I think you're right.
All right. As soon as he go to Brooklyn, he dunking again. He got his legs back.
All of a sudden, that's hilarious. And then really quick before we move on to the next subject here, I mean, I've heard the name Todd Gurley get mentioned here, maybe a possible reunion. How would you feel about that if Todd Gurley came back one more time for the Rams here?
I mean, as long as he's productive, I wouldn't mind him coming back. If they're doing it just for the reunion's sake, then maybe they're going into it with the wrong intentions. But if they think he could be a productive player, then I wouldn't mind seeing the reunion.
All right, that's fair. I mean, you got to come to play. If you just coming just to be coming, you could just get a season pass and be done with it. Man. All right, so we're gonna talk about a guy who was the host of Jeopardy for a while, the guy who's been living his best life out in California right now, not even thinking about the state of Wisconsin. We're talking about that bad man and Aaron Rodgers. And so, as we know, he felt disrespected by the franchise. He's saying he's not coming back. There was reports lately, them offering him an extension to let him make him the highest paid quarterback in NFL history. And he just basically said, nah, bro, that's not what I want. He wanted the GM fired. He felt disrespected when they drafted Jordan Love. As you see, the following season, he comes out and wins MVP. He's a reigning MVP. And so, how do you feel about this whole Aaron Rodgers situation? Like, do you agree with him? Do you feel like he's doing too much? Because it affects other players and their fantasy value and their real life contracts. So,
well, I understand Aaron Rodgers' point. I guess he wants to be brought in when they're having the conversations of who they should draft, and he feels like, they should let him know if they're going to draft a quarterback. But at the end of the day, he's just a player. I know, he got an ego, he has pride. But at the end of the day, he's just a player, and he's going to get treated as such. They don't owe you anything. They don't, owe you any conversation. They don't owe you any explanation. They don't have to do none of that. If they choose to do it, it's out of the kindness of the heart. It's just a company. The company doesn't owe you anything. Even when you go to work, the company don't got to tell you when they're gonna hire somebody new, or when they, whatever they got company business going on, they don't have to let you know. I understand Aaron Rodgers' position. He might feel that, he's worth that. He should be brought in those conversations. But look at Tom Brady. Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time. But he still had to leave New England because he felt like he wasn't getting this respect. So, that's the way I see it. I see both sides. But in reality, they don't have to let them know, and they clearly didn't. Even with Jordan and Phil Jackson, they fired Phil Jackson after he just won 3 rings straight. So, company's gonna do what they're gonna do. It might not make a lot of sense, but I guess that's the benefit of owning the company. You do what you want to do. And now I'm hearing Aaron Rodgers is talking about retiring if Green Bay don't trade him. Well, that's the rumor that's going around.
Yep, that's definitely floating around.
Yeah, it got to be true because Jamar's smiling every day from it. No, I mean, I think, I'm with you. I think to me, this is kind of huge for not just for the city of Green Bay, who has been winning ever since they drafted Aaron Rodgers. They always been inside the mix, but even from a fantasy perspective, it's just the fact that look, this was a team, Jamar and Micah, that they had a top 5 player at every position. Top 5 fantasy quarterback, top 5 fantasy tight end, top 5 fantasy wide receiver, top 5 fantasy running back, all on the same team. The only team to do that. And that's credit to Aaron Rodgers and him being up under center. Only thing he did was make these guys much better. He added tremendous, we didn't even hear about Robert Tonyan, man. He just turned him into, honestly, a fantasy, stud. So I just think with Aaron Rodgers and, not being inside the mix, these guys' value is going to drop. And not only from a fantasy perspective, but for a reality one as well.
I mean, that's facts. And speaking of one of the names you mentioned, Davonte Adams. So apparently they've been trying to work out an extension here. And at this point, it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. He's on the last year of his deal. And I'm pretty sure part of it has to do with, the uncertainty of Aaron Rodgers. And so just you all's quick thoughts on that, because for me, if Davonte Adams doesn't sign his extension, he's out the door. And I'm saying this here first. If he's out the door, he's going to be in a Raiders uniform next year. Hearing that from me first. But really quick, your thoughts on the Davonte Adams situation. This is a domino effect.
Well, yeah, I think a couple of days ago, him and Aaron Rodgers both posted a laugh dance picture on their IG or on their social media handles.
Told you, Deshaun.
Wow.
Yeah, so it seemed like, both of them out of there. Aaron Rodgers definitely out of here. And then, it kind of seemed like Davonte Adams is going to be following suit. He's going to be getting up out of Green Bay too. Yeah. So his productivity might not be the same if he's to, leave, go to a different team and have a quarterback other than Aaron Rodgers, who could get him the ball. So that might be something to look out for at fantasy league this year.
That's true.
I mean, like the whole Davonte Adams thing, man, it's weird to me. It just feels like as soon as, the rumors were swirling about Aaron Rodgers, it's like Davonte Adams took like a step back and like said to himself, like, hey, do I really want to be here? I mean, to be completely honest, he deserves all the credit and the respect to be a top 5 wide receiver, in my opinion, in the game. But I just don't like that approach. I like to see a receiver want to thrive no matter who's under center. I get it. Aaron Rodgers really made this guy a big deal, but your true value is like inside of a guy like like we can even mention Mike Evans, who has been productive over the course of his career playing with subpar quarterbacks, and DeAndre Hopkins. Like those guys, no matter who's under center, they just still went out and performed their job. I would hopefully like for him to be able to do the same. I get it. They don't want to pay him what they think he's worth. But, it's like that's a very complicated situation with these two guys.
Facts. And so, I mean, honestly, I'm not going to put them at the level of the Houston Texans right now, as just avoid everybody on that team as far as drafting this year. But you just have to take everybody with a grain of salt at this moment. I mean, things may change, between now and week 1, which is definitely possible. But until then, I will proceed with caution and poke it with a stick from like 2 yards out. That's just how I feel.
Yeah, because Aaron Rodgers seemed bent on not playing for Green Bay this year. So
yep.
Yeah, so he might be another quarterback off the draft board that you want to stay away from.
Sure, you just don't know.
Yeah.
All right, so we about to actually get into a little fun here. So if you follow us on IG, we have posted these, but we never really asked the question here on the show. So we got a couple of graphics here with a couple of questions, and then it's tailored to our rookies and our second-year players here. So give me a second. Bam. All right. So this here's segment is called Rookie Rampage. It's out the way. All right. So first question here is tailored to the quarterbacks. As you see, Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Justin Fields, and Mac Jones. Mac Jones smiling too hard for me. But anyway, which rookie quarterback will have the biggest impact? We'll start with Micah first, and we'll go up the line to Deshaun, and then I'll finish.
Biggest impact. Who I would say the biggest impact, I'm gonna go with Trevor Lawrence. I think he's probably gonna start. He's gonna start this season. So I can see him, having the opportunity to have the biggest impact. I'm not sure about Justin Fields. They were saying he might start behind Andy Dalton, Mac Jones. Bill Belichick might have got this guy, but he probably gonna sit behind Cam Newton. Trey Lance, I'm not too sure about Trey Lance or Zach Wilson, but I'm pretty sure about Trevor Lawrence as far as starting wise. So I think he's gonna have the biggest impact because he's gonna have the opportunity to have the biggest impact. So that's how I'm gonna go with Trevor Lawrence.
Fair enough.
All right, so biggest impact. So are we speaking from a fantasy perspective here, or are we speaking from a reality perspective, or a combination of the both?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I could give you a fantasy answer, but then I'm trying to also, I could give you a reality who I'm really interested in seeing too.
All right, I'll say give me both.
Okay, that's fair. All right. From a fantasy perspective, I am going to go Trevor Lawrence because I think that he has, just like Micah mentioned, he's going to start from day one. We know what we're going to get out of Trevor Lawrence from day one, which gives him just greater opportunities to be able to score. You have to be able to play inside football games to give fantasy value, right? Trevor Lawrence, number 1 pick. We already know what he did at Clemson. I think he's going to be fine with his team. He got a young group of guys that he's going to be able to grow with. He got a familiar face inside the backfield. I think he'll be absolutely just fine, and someone that you definitely want to target for dynasty IDP leagues as well. But let's talk about Justin Fields here for a second. I believe that if this guy, and Jamar, I mentioned this to you on multiple occasions. One thing you cannot teach is speed. This guy has ran a 4.33 speed, and that would transition well into a fantasy perspective as well, just in case he wants to utilize his legs. I think the Bears are built more for a playoff push, in my opinion, more so than the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I'm going to go Justin Fields in reality, and I'm going to give the slight edge, very slight, considering that he is playing on week 1 for sure for Trevor Lawrence.
Gotcha. Micah, do you want to give a fantasy perspective as well before I go?
So my fantasy perspective was Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence. Okay.
But what I'm interested in seeing is Justin Fields. You know, the Bears haven't drafted a decent quarterback in an extremely long time.
Ever.
And I feel like, Justin Fields, it's a lot of weight on his shoulders because he's going to have to live up to, justifying being picked. But that's somewhat interesting in seeing also because they're my regional team. And, to be honest, the Bears, this is the first black quarterback they ever drafted. So I'm rooting for him, pulling for him. And let's see what he got.
Absolutely. So for me, real life impact, just take me back to draft night to where I'm just sitting there and I see Justin Fields fall past the Panthers, fall past the Broncos. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. The Eagles, make a trade here and take the player that the Giants wanted. And then all of a sudden, I look up and it says the Bears on the clock. Bears traded with the Giants. I'm like, so I'm sitting here like, are we really about to do this? Or are you about to go ahead and draft Mac Jones? Because your history says you're going to draft Mac Jones. And so, and it's crazy because like when they drafted Justin Fields, I'm running around the house, man. Your sister, my wife, was talking to your mom on the phone, and I'm yelling like, "We got Justin Fields!" I'm parading around the house. I'm taking selfies with all the kids in the house. Like I'm shaking hands, like I got drafted. Like boy, that's real life impact because I know what type of quarterback this guy's going to be. Him and Trevor Lawrence, they both in the same high school class. They was basically 1 and 1A. Justin Fields checks all the boxes.
He does.
The speed, the command in the pocket, the leadership, the deep ball accuracy, the ability to extend plays. I can go on and on and on.
Do not forget about his toughness, man, and the way he toughed out after that extreme hit, man. Yes.
In the semifinals, yes.
That's what I was thinking about. Yeah, that's one thing that stood out to me too.
He took that hit, came back, and threw 6 touchdowns. Like, come on.
Yep.
Against Clemson and Trevor Lawrence. So, I mean,
Nick Saban defense.
Yeah. And so he checks the boxes. He does. And so as far as a fantasy perspective, I mean, yeah, right now Trevor Lawrence definitely gets denied because basically, but like both of you all say, he has the opportunity. Trevor Lawrence checks basically all the boxes as well for what you want as a quarterback for your franchise. So it's just more so what the weapons around Trevor Lawrence can do for him. But he would definitely have an instant impact fantasy-wise. So I guess we're all in agreement there.
But this guy is hyped too. Didn't it say he's gonna be like the next Peyton Manning coming out of college or something like that?
They did.
Yeah, was it Peyton Manning?
Yeah, it was definitely Peyton Manning, and it wasn't out of college; it was out of high school.
That's wild. But
yeah, so it's a lot of hype behind this guy. So we'll see.
Yep,
we will. So all right, next one here. Same question with running backs, real life impact and fantasy. So go ahead, go down the line, starting with Micah.
Fantasy impact. I'm gonna go with the Jacksonville Jaguars running back. Only reason I'm gonna say that is because they have a rookie quarterback, and I know they're not gonna throw him to the wolves right away. I'm assuming they're gonna be run dependent, maybe in his first season. So with that being said, looking at it from that point of view, I do think he will have the biggest fantasy and the biggest reality impact. But I do think since there is a rookie quarterback, I do think they're gonna rely on the run game a lot more. And then when he involves in the offense, gets better, starts to understand the offense, then they might start trusting with the ball a little bit more. But right now, I do think they're going to be a run dependent and a run heavy team.
No, that's a fair assessment. All right. What you got, Deshaun?
Oh man, you know what? There is a guy who, like you, Jamar, you were very excited to get inside the first round. I got a guy that I was extremely excited to land in the first round as well, and that was Najee Harris. Like, look, we all know the reason why my Steelers were absolutely horrific down the stretch. It was their inability to be able to run the football. I mean, passing, we couldn't really get the ball upfield, but still passing wasn't as stagnant as the running game. And with the addition of Najee Harris, I was extremely excited. I think this guy, out of all these names, you got to think Javonte Williams is fantastic. Love him a lot. Travis Etienne, we already know what he can do with his hands. Trey Sermon, please don't sleep. But that is a crowded backfield. And Michael Carter, probably the dark horse of them all. He's fantastic in his own right. Najee Harris is the guy, just right out, flat out, they're going to say, hey, you're going to be our starter, which is going to guarantee carries from day one. So I believe this is the best and safest pick from both a fantasy and a reality perspective.
All right. I like both of you all's picks. I mean, I am going to go with the dark horse here, Michael Carter, for both actually. And it's nothing against Najee Harris because he's a sensational talent. I felt like he spent the last 6 years at Alabama, but it feels like it because every time I've been watching Bama football, he's over running over somebody. But nevertheless, so my main concern with the Steelers is their offensive line. So I don't know how big of an impact he's going to have. If they can't block, it's just a sitting duck in the backfield. Travis Etienne, my only concern is the volume because I know they still like James Robinson, but I know if you drafted a running back in the first round, you're going to have instant impact. Same thing with Devontae Williams. I mean, he's a second-round pick, but that's still in the same boat as a first-round pick. But you got Melvin Gordon there and the uncertainty who's starting at quarterback. Trey Sermon, as you alluded to, Deshaun. Crowded backfield, but he's great talent. But that's what the 49ers do. They stack up on running backs, plug and play, and that's what they are. Michael Carter, on the other hand, is going to a Jets team who basically needs all the help they can get. Probably going to start day one with a rookie quarterback as well. I believe all the rookie skill position players and the quarterback are going to have a lot of opportunity to shine here. So what I do know is, and what I've been saying before, especially from a fantasy standpoint, opportunity plus ability equals a great fantasy player. So he might be that guy, but we'll see. Each one of these guys, I feel like is going to have an impact one way or another next year. That's my thing.
Who's the coach for the Jets?
He is, I cannot pronounce his name right now, but he was the defensive coordinator from the 49ers. So I think he's going to definitely change the whole culture there. He's a lot better than Adam Gates by default already.
I think his name is Robert Saleh. I know I butchered that last name probably. I'm just gonna roll with Saleh for that.
That's right.
Okay. I asked that because I was wondering what type of offense was the Jets gonna be running this year.
I have to imagine it has to be a lot more competent than what they've been doing. So I just have to imagine that. But all right. So we're going to go with the divas here. There's a lot of big-time names in this list here. I'm going to just read them off. Jamar Chase. That's a great name, by the way. Devonte Smith, Jalen Waddle, Elijah Moore, Rashad Bateman. All right. So 3 of them are linked back up with their college quarterbacks at the next level. So, all right. What you think?
Well, who I'm most interested in seeing is Devonte Smith. I want to see if what he did in the championship game can that translate in the NFL. So I'm almost interested to see, him as a wide receiver, to see is he, can he run his routes, can he catch, can he go across the middle, take some hits. So I'm really interested in seeing Devontae Smith this year. I want to, like I say, I want to see, you know, is he good? Is the hype real? Because in the championship game, he was torching Ohio State. I mean, it was nothing they could do. I mean, I'm yelling at my TV like, try cover 2, try cover 3. Man to man, double team them. Do something. And whatever they did, they won't listen to me obviously because he still was running on them. Running buck wide on them. So that's what I'm interested in seeing. For him to dominate the game in that fashion, he definitely got my attention going into this season.
Sean, what you think?
All right, so man, dude, we got a fantastic group of wide receivers here, gentlemen, and man, the name that sticks out is the one that I'm looking at up top right there. Is Jamar Chase. So man, look, make no mistake about it. This guy is a franchise wide receiver. He just embodies what a wide receiver should look like and should act like and should catch like and run like. He is the prototypical wide receiver one. I understand that he comes in into a crowded situation on that offense, but I think he can actually step in and step over guys like T. Higgins and other guys like that. So Jamar Chase was the guy at LSU. Justin Jefferson was there as well. But even when Justin Jefferson was there, Jamar Chase still was the man at LSU. Devonta Smith is phenomenal. I'm not taking anything away from him. I think he's going to have a fine career as a wide receiver. But I think he's going to more so get a lot of his due inside like the slot. But he stepped into a great situation because the Eagles have pass catchers or lack thereof who just aren't being able to produce over the last couple of seasons. Jalen Waddle. And all of these three guys are reuniting, Jamar, like you said, with their college quarterbacks. Jalen Waddle, again, a more so crowded situation. But, I mean, his explosiveness out of probably the bunch is probably second to none. Elijah Moore, another dark horse. It's something about these Jets players, bro, that are – like, I like Elijah Moore. And, like, the more that they rave about this guy, the more research I do on him. And I like him a lot. Like, I really do. I'm hoping to land him inside of our dynasty draft too, Jamar. That's like a little tidbit. So Rashad Bateman, he also comes in a run-heavy offense. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure if it's going to be an abundance of like targets there right from the get-go. But from both a fantasy and a reality perspective, give me both Jamar Chase. Love him. Love him, love him, love him.
All right, fair enough. I mean, honestly, I feel like you almost can't pick wrong here. For me, I guess as far as fantasy perspective, I love dark horses, man. That's what I do. Elijah Moore. There's going to be quite a bit of opportunity for that man to catch a lot of balls this year. I mean, the target share is going to be there. I know they got Jamison Crowder. I know they, signed Corey Davis, but Corey Davis does have an injury history. Jamison is not the happiest camper there, so I don't know if they're going to trade him or what. I don't know. But I do know Elijah Moore is a freak of nature. I do know A.J. Brown confessing to Elijah Moore because they're like best buds and saying that he's way more talented, and A.J. Brown still trying to do things that Elijah Moore is doing right now. So as long as the opportunity is there, which it should be, Elijah Moore should have a big fantasy impact, real life impact here. Like I get Jamar Chase, I get that one. I definitely get Devonta Smith. I get both of those. I'm gonna just give some love to Jalen Waddle because with the addition of Jalen Waddle to that offense, it takes pressure off of Devontae Parker. It takes pressure off of Will Fuller when he starts playing week 2. Takes pressure off of Micah, takes pressure off of Myles Gaskin, and more importantly, it takes pressure off of Tua Tagovailoa. I think I said that right. But anyway, I mean, basically the Dolphins are Tua a bust at this point because if Tua gets down and actually does what he's supposed to do, the Dolphins are going to be a wrecking ball.
Yep.
My gosh. But like I said, all these guys will have major impact this upcoming season, so I can't wait to see that. All right, two more graphics. We're going into sophomores here. There was not enough quarterbacks for me to do, but running backs. I made this before Akers went down, so basically just crossing them out. We got Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Deandre Swift, Antonio Gibson, J.K. Dobbins. What you thinking here?
Well, I do know, Clyde is going to be, what is that? Clyde Edwards. What's his last name?
Helaire.
Yeah, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I do know being with Patrick Mahomes, you bound to get some looks, you bound to get some opportunities. Your numbers definitely going to increase. He going to have the same Aaron Rodgers effect. He's going to make everyone better. Everyone playing with Patrick Mahomes should all have career high numbers. So I do think he's going to have a big impact. And I'm also looking at J.K. Dobbins, just because he's with Lamar Jackson and that's a run heavy system. I'm expecting him to get a lot of opportunities. So my fantasy league picks is, Clyde Edwards-Helaire and J.K. Dobbins. And then, who I'm looking to see, outside of fantasy, probably J.K. Dobbins to see what him and Lamar could do, because I'm definitely root for Lamar Jackson. I'm a Lamar Jackson fan. If you could carry the run game and they creative run if they come up with, he might have a lot of opportunities to shine and move the ball downfield, get first downs, and the ultimate goal is to get a touchdown.
Fair enough. What you got, Reed?
Oh man, so this one is tough, man. Heavy heart. Cam Akers, man. So my love goes out to Cam Akers. We saw what he did, Jamar. You and I were high on him. Like, they didn't give him his due toward like the beginning of the season, but when they actually gave him the keys to the backfield, this guy really, really took off. And I'm saying to myself, I want this guy next year. And how unfortunate it is for him to come up with that injury and haven't even really started to really get into football. So Cam Akers is out by default. CEH is very, very interesting. He started off hot. You know what I mean? And then he kind of more so cooled down, and then he had like the little injury that he had. But I mean, he is on a team with Patrick Mahomes. That team is going to fly. It's going to fly for like the next 10 years. Like, they're going to be just fantastic. So you can't definitely take your eyes off of CEH as a good pick. All these names are fantastic, by the way. Deandre Swift is another guy, and Detroit just lacks a lot of talent. So I feel like he's going to get his just due, and not only the passing and rushing game. So it's going to be a dual threat for this guy. He has hands like a receiver, in my opinion. But the guy that I want to see, the guy who I love, Antonio Gibson. This guy has a nose for the end zone. Love him. So from a fantasy perspective, I'm going to give my due to Antonio Gibson. And I understand that J.D. McKissick is there, but Mr. 3 touchdown, as me and Jamar likes to call him, like, this guy is fantastic. J.K. Dobbins is as well. Micah mentioned it earlier. They're in a run-heavy offense. At first, they thought that they were going to sign Ty Gurley. They didn't pull the trigger on that. He's still going to get a little bit more attention in that backfield because it is a little bit less crowded. All these names are fantastic, and to be completely honest, you cannot go either way. So from a reality perspective, I'm going to give them all a nod. You know what I mean? I think they all can be productive. But from a fantasy perspective, give me some Antonio Gibson.
Man, so Micah was there when I was, we was Thanksgiving and watching how Antonio Gibson was just scoring 3 touchdowns on them boys, and how thankful I was at the time. And I kept saying that he just got me 3 touchdowns on my fantasy team. And so, I mean, Antonio Gibson, I can't say enough great things about the guy. All right, so real quick, just from a real life standpoint, yeah, you're right, Deshaun. They're all gonna have impacts.
Yep.
I'm going to go with real life. I'm going to go with Deandre Swift, just because I don't know what to expect from the Detroit Lions at all. Like, Jared Goff is not good to me at all. I just feel like he was a product of Sean McVay, so I don't know what to expect from the guy. I just know he has T.J. Hockenson at tight end, Deandre Swift at running back, and some rookie wide receiver, and that's about it. I don't know what to expect, but I know Deandre Swift from what I saw last year. He's definitely talented, and when given the opportunity, he can make an impact. I mean, heck, they should have beat my Bears in Week 1 if he didn't drop that pass. I mean, that's just what it is. So, fantasy perspective, it's definitely Antonio Gibson. As you see, Deshaun, I got him in the Dynasty League, so I'm happy with that. And just can't wait to see what the future holds. Give me 1 second. I think we got some, I guess not breaking news, but definitely some news on a player here, real quick, and then we get to our last graphic. All right, so this is coming from the Ian Rappaport. He's reporting that Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson is expected to show up for testing to get into the Texans training camp, despite his ongoing frustrations with the organization.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's still a lot of murky waters with that, but I guess he wants to play football. So
yeah, because he was upset with the organization a couple months ago or a little earlier this year or something like that.
Yeah, he wants to get traded, and then all that,
allegations start coming out against him, didn't it? Yeah, okay.
Ironic, surprisingly, all of a sudden, whatever you want to call it. But we'll touch more about that in a second. Real quick, let's get rid of. Let's do this last one here. So, wide receivers, second-year guys. These guys definitely have shown flashes of greatness last year. Brandon Ayuk, T. Higgins, Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs III, Chase Claypool. Who's it going to be?
So who I'm going to roll with is, I'm going to say Jerry Jeudy only if Aaron Rodgers goes to the Broncos. Jerry Jeudy, I do think, like we touched on with Aaron Rodgers earlier, he elevates guys to a whole nother level. And so I'm going to use that same logic here. If the Broncos can get Aaron Rodgers, I expect Jerry Jeudy to have, a career year and put up career numbers. So that's who I'm really paying attention to, who I'm excited to watch fantasy and reality.
That's a good one.
Man, I like a couple of these names here, man. I like a couple of them. I love Brandon Ayuk, like Jerry Jeudy, Chase Claypool. That's my dog. So, man, I'm a homer, gentlemen. So I'm definitely gonna have to roll with Chase Claypool here. Like the flashes that he showed, he has the ability to be a number one wide receiver on a team. I'm just not ready if he's ready for that full-time responsibility just yet. But all the tools are there. I mean, he showed really, really good poise. He did a couple of toe tapping, like sideline catches, which just literally made me take my hat off, man. Like seriously. But Brandon Ayuk is a tremendous talent as well. T. Higgins is great. Me and Jamar rave about him on a regular, but from a fantasy perspective, I'm gonna have to go Chase Claypool, both from fantasy and reality perspective for me.
All right. So, see, I would say Chase Claypool had your boy not re-signed with the Steelers, had Juju left and went somewhere else. I've been all over Chase Claypool this upcoming season. From a real life standpoint, I like Jerry Jeudy. I feel like his route running ability is elite. It's already top 5 to me as far as his route running. If you actually look at what he's done already, and he comes out the wide receiver factory known as Alabama, because they always have all the elite wide receivers come out of there. His route running is similar to Amari Cooper. It's similar to Davonte Adams. It is very elite. He can get open on simple routes just because of what he can do. It's just more so him getting the ball, you're saying. So if Teddy is going to be a quarterback, I feel comfortable there. If Drew Lock's going to be a quarterback, I don't feel comfortable there. If Aaron Rodgers is there, give me all the Jerry Jeudy in the world. And then from a fantasy standpoint, I'm going Henry Ruggs III. Derek Carr only really has 2 to 3 people to throw the ball to. One is Waller the baller. That's enough said on that one. The other guy is maybe Kenyon Drake at this point, who's going to be maybe playing in the slot out the backfield, some wheel routes. I don't know, but with Nelson Aguilar with the Patriots now, Henry Ruggs, he runs a 4.3. He's going to fly down the field. Henry Ruggs definitely going to have a major impact fantasy-wise, but all these guys are great. And so, I guess that concludes that. Just before we get out of here, really quick, anybody got any other thoughts about Deshaun Watson trying to, I guess, get back into training camp here?
No, I think that's a good thing. We all know that Deshaun Watson is a gamer, and I just feel like he wants to be on the field. I don't think he doesn't, want to be on like the sidelines not playing football. And even from both fantasy and reality, he's a great player. Like, you can't really take anything away from that. I'm hoping that all the allegations against him are false, just like everything that has been reported. But man, I just think both reality and fantasy football is better with Deshaun Watson than without.
Facts. Micah, you got any more to add?
Well, yeah, Deshaun Watson was definitely one of my favorite quarterbacks, I can say. John Watson play. I think he has all the intangibles to be good. But I think the Texans did him a disservice when they traded DeAndre Hopkins. I still don't understand why they traded him. But the coach got fired, so hey. So yeah, I'm happy. He's back. He's in the prime of his career. He needs to be out there. Just tighten up off the field. And I'm excited to see him this year. I'm happy he's playing.
So I'm reading this right now. Not to cut you off, Jamar, but I'm reading this right now. It's just saying that he is doing this to be able to avoid the $50K per day fine. And this is reported by Adam Schefter just like 3 minutes ago. But it says Watson's trade request remains in effect, with source saying nothing has changed in that regard. So I'm guessing it's maybe like a money issue, the reason why he's showing up, and he doesn't want to take that $50K per day fine, which is hefty, man. Especially with everything that he's been going through financially too.
No, absolutely. Let's be clear. He's not in the same financial situation as Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers could afford to do that. Aaron Rodgers played 16 years. Deshaun Watson in the middle of his prime, so I get it. My only concern is what the NFL league may do. Like with all these quote unquote allegations, are they going to put him on the exempt list? Get suspended for a couple of games, for half the games, a whole year, just being petty. I don't know. But I would love to see the guy on the field. I was advocating for the Bears to trade for him before all this stuff happened. He's a gamer. He's one of the guys I don't bet against when he's on the field and the game's on the line. So, nevertheless, I do hope he's have a new beginning and actually plays football this year. We don't have him in our fantasy ranks because we don't know what to expect at all.
Right.
So, but if he gets on the field here, then that changes everything. So. All right, and then one last thing, if you are following Team USA basketball, they just lost to France, 83-76. So, great way to start the Olympic Games here for Team USA. Yes.
Yeah, they thought that they was going to be able to pull it together. They was losing the qualifying rounds, I think. Yep. They was taking a couple L's.
I just think that is mind blowing, man. It really is.
I don't know.
They was they're gonna pull it together, and it's just an anomaly, but they losing to France.
Right. Here's the thing, these countries that they're going against, they've been playing together for years. They have chemistry, they have cohesion, they know one another. Our MO is, we just, pick the best guys, go out there, talent wins over. You have to actually, sacrifice, check the ego at the door and play ball and play defense. You can't do that. You're going to underestimate these guys, and they're going to beat you. And then you're going to come back embarrassed. Going to have headlines over the place. And then we're going to, double check your greatness. So that's what's going to happen if they don't get their act together. But, Micah, I definitely appreciate you dropping by, man. Thank you.
For sure.
Thank you. you are definitely welcome to come on during the season. So we plan on, recording the actual pod on Saturday evenings if we can, and then going live on Sunday mornings for any updates and, anything like that. So you're definitely welcome to join us at any point. Just let me know.
Appreciate it. I will let you know.
Appreciate it. So, Deshaun, where can they find us?
Man, they can find us anywhere where podcasts are available. Apple Music, Spotify. I mean, you guys already know the rundown. If you name it, we are there.
No, you're right. And then also, just to let people know, you can find everything from our social media to our podcast to graphics at one spot now, the destinationfantasy.com. Please check it out.
It's live.
It's live. You will not be disappointed. All right. So, for my brother Deshaun, for my actual brother Micah, Jamar, Destination Fantasy Podcast, we will see you all next week. Peace out. Much love.